Hi guys, it's Rach. Today I'm going to be filming a book chat for you guys. It has been quite a while, like months and months, since I actually sat down and filmed a book chat. In that time I've read a lot of books, so I've kind of going to just pick and choose some to talk about, not talk about every single one like I usually would, because otherwise the rambling levels are going to be at very high levels. Yes, so I can already see it's already starting. I just wanted to talk about just some of my favorites, some of the ones that I've been loving. You guys know the drill. I give you a little brief rundown of the book and just say why I liked it. Let's start off with, I don't even know what. Let's start off with Never Never by Colleen Hoover and Tarryn Fisher. I was so excited about this book. I love Colleen Hoover and I've recently come to love Tarryn Fisher as authors as well. So to hear that they were collaborating on a book, very, very exciting. I don't want to talk too much about the plotline of this book. It's the very first one. You kind of left on a bit of a cliffhanger. There's going to be more books. It was a short-ish one, and I feel like if I talk too much about the story, I'm going to be giving too much away. Part of the enjoyment of this book is sort of discovering what's going on. But the general premise is a guy and a girl both sort of almost, I guess, wake up in the middle of the day with no memories of what has happened in their past. They know how, like, general things like how to drive a car or, I don't know, what food is, stuff like that. So they know that, but then they don't know their identity, where they live, who their family is, that kind of stuff. It just goes, and it's kind of, the story is on their journey of working out that this has happened to them and that it's happened to each other, and trying to sort of determine why, or at least how to deal with it. It's very, very early on into the story, but it was one of these just things that just hooked you in. It is such a, I don't know, an intriguing plot line, and I can't wait for more. So I would highly recommend Never Never, and I'm looking forward to the next one in that series. I also finally read the Fallen Crest series by, now I've already said that I don't know how to pronounce the author's name in one video, and I've asked you guys to help me, but by the time I'm filming this and that video hasn't gone up yet, so I don't know if it's Tijan or Tijan, or I'm not sure how to pronounce her name, but she's a brilliant author. I absolutely love the Fallen Crest series. You guys recommended it to me, and it's been sitting on, the first one, Fallen Crest High, has been sitting on my Kindle app for a couple of months, and I finally got around to reading it, and then I had to download like the next 3 books straight away. So there's Fallen Crest High, I think Fallen Crest Family, Fallen Crest Public, and Fallen Down Fourth. I think that's the 4 books, but they're fantastic. They all center around a guy, his brother, and another girl, and basically they get thrown together because her mum marries the brother's dad, and they all come from a past that all their parents are kind of screwed up. A lot of the adults in their life aren't doing the job the way that they should, so they almost form a little family of their own, and to be honest, they need that support because the poor girl goes through some quite screwed up situations. Some bad things happen. It's high school, but it's at another level. It's not, to me, it's almost not realistic high school, because if all this stuff happened in high school, when I was in high school, I would be horrified. But at the same time, I would also love to have a friendship and a relationship in the way that she does with the brothers. It's just, I don't know, I love them both. I love all the characters. I like the secondary characters. I like the storyline. I like where it's going. I like the writing. It's great. New fan of this author, would highly recommend the Fallen Crest High series. I feel like I kind of skipped over that. The book has some quite serious situations in it, if that makes sense. It's not sort of, I mean, it has some romance, and it has, I don't know how to describe it, but it also has some deep things that you have to actually sort of think about a bit as well. It's not just all super light-hearted. I hope that makes sense. The next book we have is The Pact by Karina Halle. Again, another recommendation. Not Karina Halle, Karina Halle? I don't know, Halle. Either way, sorry, I'm going to mispronounce a lot of authors' names. I thoroughly apologize for that. This book was, I'm pretty sure, a standalone novel, and I really enjoyed it. It's about a guy and a girl who make a pact when they're, I think, about 25, to say that if they're not married by the time they're 30, that they'll get married and they'll get together. And the guy's kind of secretly had a thing for the girl for a very long time, and for whatever reason they've just never quite gotten together. And as you kind of get to see from the time that they're in their early 20s and slowly moving to when they get to 30, and the relationships that they go in and out of through that time period, and what they do with their life, and moving away and coming back. And it's ultimately about them finding their way sort of back to each other and realizing what they had in the first place. Really good book, well written, sucked me in, I really enjoyed it. A series that I have been absolutely loving, and each book I keep on saying gets better and better, is the Sterling Shore series by C.M. Owen. I've read 2 more books from that series. It's book number 4 and 5, but technically there's 6 books in this series because there was a 1.5, and that was a full-size book. So I've read 6 books in this series so far, and I've just been really enjoying them. The number 4 is Loving War, which is Code and Tria's story, and this is about a couple who've been mentioned in previous books, and both of them have been characters that have not necessarily been your favourite for whatever reason, and I guess this book makes you realise and understand a bit more of their backstory and where they were coming from and their actions that you've kind of seen in the past books. And it's one of those ones where there's a love-hate relationship and they're really straddling that love-hate line, but it kind of gets tipped towards the more love side, and I really enjoyed it. The next one is Breaking Even, I think it's called. What is it called? Let me find it. Yes, Breaking Even. I gotta say, this might have been my favourite one of the series so far. It definitely gets better as you go along. This one, the characters, the main guy and the main girl are neighbours, and they sort of get off to a rocky start because of a little bit of a parking war that's been going on in their street. And they do pranks on each other for basically the entire book. And I've got to say, it just, like, the book had some serious elements to it, but it also had so much light-hearted funness, and that came from the pranks. Seriously, if I need to pull a prank on anyone at any time soon, I have been given so many ideas from this book. I don't know if the author came up with them herself, or whether she's done them on people, or whether she just googled it, but some creative pranks to play on people if you want that. It had, like, the characters had great sexual chemistry, they had great banter between the two. I loved just their whole relationship and how it got started, and I loved the pranks that they played on each other, and I just continue to enjoy this series. It gets better and better. If you read the first book and maybe you didn't like it that much, I remember thinking I liked it, but I wasn't, oh my gosh, I'm in love with this series. Keep on going, because every single book makes me like this series more. Another series that I've enjoyed for quite a while is the Assassins series by Toni Aleo. This one is based around a hockey team, the Nashville Assassins. I have said it before, but I often do get sucked into series that surround a sporting team. I don't know what it is because I'm not good at sports. I don't really know much about hockey. I don't really know much about football or baseball, but I've read a ton of series and I like that element. For some reason, I enjoy it. This series has been going on, what book is this? This is number 6, and there's been little novellas and spin-offs and things like that. I like the characters. I like the family element that being part of this sporting team creates, and you get to hear about all the past characters. This one is about a couple that were together when they were younger, and then they broke up for reasons that often happen when you're just young and stupid and you don't realize what you have until it's gone. It's kind of that kind of scenario, but they never really let go of this past relationship. It was kind of perfect for them, and it's about them kind of crossing paths and finally coming back together and trying to work out the stuff that happened in the past so that they can have a future, if that makes any sense at all. It's a great book. I like this series, would recommend it. They are quite long books, like for a romance novel, they're a decent size, so you feel like you're getting your money's worth when you buy these books. Okay, what to talk about next? Oh, Past Imperfect by Alison Bailey. This one, or Alison G. Bailey, this is a spin-off of Present Perfect, which was a book that I read quite a while ago thanks to a recommendation, and I really, really liked it. It was a great book. It was quite long. It was very like heart-wrenching and dramatic, and I bawled my eyes out in that book, but it had a happy ending. It had a Rachael approved happy ending, because there's a difference between a happy ending and a Rachael approved happy ending. A Nicholas Sparks happy sad ending is not a Rachael approved happy ending, but this one has it. And this is a spin-off of a character that was in the main book. This is kind of his story in the future, and I really, really enjoyed it. I'm it's one of those ones, again, it was deep and it made you, it sort of pulled on your heartstrings a little bit, but I enjoyed it. I would recommend Present Perfect, and I'd recommend Past Imperfect. Really great books. Again, on the longer side too, so you sort of get a decent sized story. The last couple of books I wanted to mention, one is The Game Plan, which is a Neighbour from Hell novel by R.L. Mathewson. I adore this series. I have adored it for quite a while, and there was a big gap. I think something happened to the author, maybe someone was sick or she was sick. She did seem to take a break from writing for a little bit, which is totally fine. There was sort of a gap, so I hadn't read, like, it's been a while since I'd read the first few Neighbour from Hell books, and the premise of these is that it's usually based on a guy and a girl who are neighbours for whatever reason, and they start off really not liking each other, but they have really great chemistry and they end up really liking each other, having a relationship, and they're always just fun. There's some quite funny elements to it. The link between them is a family of guys. That's how kind of the stories link, and so you do get to hear little bits about like the past couples, but it mainly concentrates on the current couple in the book, and I think that they're funny. There's this plot line of all the guys in this family are crazy eaters, like eat a lot of food, so that always makes for quite funny scenes in the book and stuff like that. I don't know, I enjoy this series. I enjoy her Pite and Sentinel series, which is more of a supernatural one. I talked about that in my last book chat. I would recommend R.L. Mathewson as an author. Okay, last one that I'm going to talk about for this book chat is Beautiful Redemption by Jamie McGuire. This is a Maddox brothers novel, and it's based on the Beautiful Disaster series, and Travis, who's the main character in Beautiful Disaster, his brothers, because I think he has 5 of them, or there's 5 in the family, maybe he's got 4 brothers. So this is the second book in the Maddox brothers series, and it's kind of a continuation on from the last book. In the last book we met one of his brothers, Trent, and Cammy, his eventual girlfriend, and in that book Cammy was actually seeing somebody before she got together with Trent, and it turns out that it was actually the eldest Maddox brother, Thomas. So this is now his story, him about kind of getting over Cammy, and also about meeting somebody new. And it's funny because even though these stories are all linked by brothers, they have very different things about them, because these brothers do different things and maybe live in different areas. For example, in this one, Thomas is in the FBI, I think. Hopefully I'm not getting that wrong. Yeah, FBI. So we're getting a different sort of look at, I don't know, at a different world, and this one concentrates on something completely different to what the other books concentrated on. Like the Beautiful Disaster, for example, was set in college. So they have similarities, but they're also different. I like this story. I don't know if I liked it as much as the first one or as much as Beautiful Disaster or Walking Disaster, but it was still a good book, and I like the fact that this kind of gives you a little bit of an insight into how we get to the epilogue that's in Walking Disaster. If you've read the books, you'll know what I'm talking about. If not, I'm not going to make any sense at all, but I highly recommend the whole series. Go out, read it if you haven't already, but I'm looking forward to the next Maddox brother story. Okay, I think that's all. Oh, hold on. I'm going to break my rules. One more. Kaleidoscope Hearts by Claire Contreras. I always can't pronounce names. I'm so sorry. Contreras. We'll say Claire Contreras. This is a standalone novel, and I really enjoyed it. This one, Tina, thank you for the recommendation. It was one of these stories where it's a relationship that probably should have happened years ago and never did for whatever reason. It's a girl who's in love with her best friend's older brother. He has feelings for her, but again doesn't want to maybe piss off the brother, his best friend, and also doesn't want to wreck the relationship that they've got, because they're kind of like family. Usually that happens when there's a best friend, that they're like family member, and you don't want to mess with that kind of relationship. And this is about a girl kind of trying to move on from her past and seeing if she can have a future with this guy, and about them getting together and dealing with past relationship issues and things like that. I don't know, it was just a really sweet book. I really enjoyed it. I think you'll like it. If you're looking for a great romance standalone novel, check it out. I think you'll like it. Okay, now I am truly officially done with talking about books for today. As always, send me your recommendations. I have my Goodreads listed or linked in the description box of all my videos. Come befriend me, say hi. I am forever just at least rating the books as I read them, so you can follow along with my Goodreads challenge and see what I read as I read it, what rating I give it, things like that. You can also send book recommendations that way, or tweet me your book recommendations with the hashtag RachReads, and that way I can see them that way, or you can send them to me on Facebook, whatever it is. Let me know what you're reading in the comments, and other than that, I hope you guys are all having an awesome day, and I'll talk to you all next time. Bye!